Welcome to Fenway Park as the fans make their way in for Game 2 of a 3-game series between the Cleveland Indians and the Boston Red Sox. Welcome inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Don Orsillo, as always, joined by Jerry Remy. Welcome to Red Sox baseball. Well, the Red Sox have had a good long look at a lot of their players, and lately Blake Swihart behind the dish has done a very nice job.
He really has, Don. He's gone under the radar in that series against the Seattle Mariners, where a lot of the Red Sox had a lot of hits in that series, but certainly Swihart had his share. And you take a look at a couple of them. First of all, batting from the left side of the plate, he goes to the opposite field in the left center field gap to get himself a double and drive in some runs. And then later on in the ball game, from the right side, the switch hitter picks up a base hit up the middle to drive in another run. So Swihart offensively has done the job. But the thing that's impressed me, for a rookie, the fact that he has been able to go through the season with a lot on his plate. To be able to learn how to catch a pitching staff, know the pitchers on the staff, get to know the league. I mean, there's an awful lot of things he's had to learn in a very short period of time, and I think the progress has been very impressive for Blake Swihart.
Tonight, the Red Sox are looking to bounce back on this important night from Fenway Park. Right now, the players' wives are manning the phones. Hope you will donate. We're back with more from Fenway right after this. Audi, experience a new Audi A3 today. Dunkin' Donuts, America runs on Dunkin'. Toyota's website for deals via Toyota.com. DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of your Boston Red Sox. Lexus and their pursuit of perfection. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at Southwest.com. We welcome you inside Fenway Park for Game 2 of the 3-game series between the Indians and the Red Sox. Welcome back inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Don Orsillo. Well, everyone around New England knows the partnership between the Red Sox and the Jimmy Fund is like no other. In fact, across Major League Baseball, many teams have tried to replicate the partnership that the two have. As Garen Austin explains, the players and certainly the team knows what it's all about.
Thanks, Don. Today we kicked off the 14th annual Jimmy Fund, and it couldn't have come at a better time as manager John Farrell starts his first cancer treatment. Accompanying him on that first treatment, Indians manager and longtime friend Terry Francona. Interim manager Torey Lovello today spoke about what the partnership means between the Red Sox and the Jimmy Fund.
I've come in here as a visiting player several times, and you don't really know what it means until you get here, and you see that it's a special bond that the Boston Red Sox have with the Jimmy Fund, and it's the reason why it's special is because we know the doctors, we know the researchers, we know the kids, we know the process, and we know where the money goes. And it's such a great cause, and I know that it's been a 62-year marriage that has raised a lot of money for a great cause.
Well, if there's anybody who knows anything about the Jimmy Fund, it is certainly Terry Francona, who's here for such a long time and such a great partner to the Jimmy Fund. Still is, even in a Cleveland Indians uniform. We're back with the first pitch from Fenway right after this. For the middle game of this 3-game series, the Red Sox have taken the field, so check out the visiting Indians lineup, brought to you by New England Chevy dealers. Jose Ramirez at second base leads it off with Francisco Lindor at shortstop batting second. Michael Brantley is the DH third with Carlos Santana at first base. Ryan Rayburn, the former Detroit Tiger, in left field. Roberto Perez does the catching with Abraham Almonte in center field. Jerry Sands in right field, and former Red Sox infielder Mike Aviles at third base. The Red Sox starting pitcher is presented by your local New England Audi dealers. Eduardo Rodriguez on the mound tonight for the Red Sox. His 15th start of the year, 6-5 with a 4.83 earned run average, 63 strikeouts to 27 walks, and opponents sitting at 246 against him. Took the loss last time out, roughed up by the Marlins in 5 innings, giving up 8 runs. Jose Ramirez standing in on the right side, showing bunt and taking strike one. Now for Eduardo Rodriguez, it has been a case of either being really good or really bad. There's not been a really kind of a gray area or in between for him so far this year.
See Ramirez right there trying to bunt twice. The guy's got an 0 for 19 right now and trying to get on base any way he can, but quickly falls behind 0-2.
Hitting under 200 at 196. 2 homers, 15 runs batted in.
First time that Eduardo Rodriguez has faced the Cleveland Indians.
Francisco Lindor waiting on deck. There is strike 3. Picked up that outside corner at 96.
Now the Red Sox defense is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. They are 10th in the American League with 69 errors on the season. Pablo Sandoval at third base, Xander Bogaerts to shortstop, Brock Holt at second, and Travis Shaw, the first baseman, left to right, Hanley Ramirez, Mookie Betts, and Rusney Castillo. Blake Swihart doing the catching for Rodriguez.
So one down here in the first inning brings up Francisco Lindor, the shortstop. Lindor at 291 with 5 homers and 24 runs batted in. That's 28 games for Lindor, hitting at 354 as he does not chase the fastball down. And now Rodriguez falling behind 3-0. So far against the American League Central, Eduardo Rodriguez is 3-0 with a 1.33 earned run average. And he does just get that outside corner. 72% of the time fastballs for Eduardo Rodriguez. And a hot shot picked at third on the backhand by Sandoval. 2 down in the inning.
Hell, reaction position right there at third base, and that ball a bullet by Lindor down to Pablo Sandoval, and didn't even have time to take a crossover step. Just bring that glove across the body and take the line drive before it hits the ground.
So 2 down here in the first inning. Nice reaction play by Sandoval. And here is Michael Brantley. Having another good year. 313 during the year. 8 homers and 64 runs batted in. Brantley an all-star last year. In fact, last year finished 3rd in the AL MVP voting. That's a fly ball to center field. Mookie Betts out there waiting. He'll put it away. A 1-2-3 first inning for Eduardo Rodriguez. Red Sox are coming up. ball game tonight here from Fenway Park as we head to the bottom of the first inning. The Indians starting pitcher presented by your New England Nissan dealers. Trevor Bauer making his 24th start of the year, 9-9 with a 4.35 earned run average. Logged 140 and 2/3 innings. Opponent sitting at 230 against him, and 137 Ks for Bauer. And there for strike one to Mookie Betts. Lost last time out, lasted just 3 1/3 against the Yankees, giving up 7 hits and 6 runs. So Danny Salazar, very impressive here last night for the Indians.
Yeah, one thing about Bauer was strange enough, but 23 home runs he has allowed so far this season.
And he yanks that one down and away. Fastball. 10 road starts this year, a 2.35 ERA, third lowest in the American League. So not enjoying his time at home as count evens at 2-2.
Drops a slider on Mookie Betts that time, down and away from Betts. So far we've seen the fastball and the slider.
He's only behind Sonny Gray and David Price in road ERA as this is to center field, and Almonte is out there to make the catch. Red Sox lineup is brought to you by your Eastern Hyundai dealers as Mookie Betts just led it off. He is the center fielder with Brock Holt at second base. Xander Bogaerts at shortstop, bats third with David Ortiz, the DH. Hanley Ramirez in left field. Pablo Sandoval at third base. Travis Shaw back at first base, batting seventh with Rusney Castillo in right. And Blake Swihart doing the catching. Brock Holt standing in and taking ball one. Holt at 286 with 2 homers and 34 runs batted in. Laces this one foul back into the grandstand area.
And Brock Holt gets a 93-mile-an-hour fastball on the inside part of the plate. Is able to clean it out, but clean it out in foul territory. There's that fastball on the inside part of the plate, and the bat head out, but hit foul by Brock Holt.
Holt coming in with a 5-game hitting streak. 11 for 24 during the streak. Xander Bogaerts waiting on deck. Red Sox batting here in the bottom of the first inning. Laced foul off to the left. First start for Trevor Bauer against the Red Sox. He's not had much luck with the AL East so far. 0-2 with a 9.82 ERA against the East as that fastball is up and fouled back. Tonight's umpires are brought to you by Buick. Experience a new Buick lineup during this year's Sign and Drive. See your local Buick dealer today. Mike Muchlinski is behind the plate with Mark Wagner at first base, Marty Foster at second base, and Mike Winters, the crew chief, at third. To right field, and this will get down and head towards the corner. Sands was playing towards right center, so Holt's going to have a chance here to run a while. Headed for third base and without a problem standing with a 1-out triple.
Now that's the second time Brock Holt is going to pitch inside. The second time he cleaned it out. First time was in foul territory. This time down the right field line for an easy triple. He knows when he makes contact and he sees where the outfielders are that he's got 3 bases after making contact here. That ball rattles around the wall down in right field, and Holt, no question about it, is going to be going for 3 here. He can see it right there that he's got a chance for the triple. And a stand-up triple it is.
So Brock now with a 6-game hitting streak with a 480 average along the way. Second triple in the midst of this 6-gamer. And stands at third base with a chance here for the Red Sox to grab the lead. Here is Xander Bogaerts. Xander taking strike one. .313 average to start the night for Bogaerts. 4 homers and 59 runs batted in. Xander held hitless in the ballgame last night, going 0 for 4. And .313 batting average, good for his 7th in the American League. Loves Fenway as well. home games. 345. Kipnis, who was just activated tonight by the Indians at 376. And Miguel Cabrera is second in that category. Down 1-2.
And so far, every pitch away from Bogaerts, the outside part of the plate. Fastball to the outside corner, maybe a little bit off the outside corner that time. Bogaerts chasing it.
Bouncing in and blocked by Perez.
Good job there by Roberto Perez. Saved his club a run. He gets the curveball that time. The first curveball we've seen from Bauer tonight. Good job getting himself in position to block that ball.
He was well in front of the plate.
Yep.
Bogaerts chops it to third. It's a fair ball, and they've got hung up Holt. They'll tag him out, throw to first base, and it's thrown away. Running it down will be Santana, but no further advance for Bogaerts, who is almost part of a double play. Instead, a tough situation there with the ball ends up behind Holt, and they tag him out and get him off third base. 2 down.
Yeah, there was nothing Holt could do, really. I mean, he's in his lead, and the ball's heading down in this direction. You can see he's already heading back to the bag. But the baseball takes Aviles right back to the bag with him. So Holt then, tries to score. He can't do that. He's tagged out. Throw gets away at first base, but no advance by Bogaerts. I mean, that's a helpless feeling for Brock Holt. You've been in normal lead, and the ball's hit directly at you and at the third base bag.
So 2 down, runner at first base. Into the shift go the Cleveland Indians. David Ortiz standing in for the first time tonight. Big Papi toting a .263 average coming in. 25 homers and 73 runs batted in. Tonight's key matchup is brought to you by Honda. Start something special with a great deal on a Honda. David Ortiz on the 9-game hitting streak. Even 500 during the stretch. 17 for 34. 4 home runs and 13 RBIs during the stretch. Ortiz slicing it foul.
The Indians defense is brought to you by DraftKings. 5th in the American League, 61 errors. Aviles, Lindor, Ramirez, and Santana in the infield. Rayburn, Almonte, Sands in the outfield. And Roberto Perez doing the catching for Bauer.
2 down, Xander Bogaerts at first base, and a 1-1 coming to David Ortiz. And that one has him jumping back out of the way. David right now with 1,078 career extra base hits, tied with Cal Ripken for 22nd most in Major League history. And that one is just outside, and Bauer falling behind now, 3-1. Hanley Ramirez waiting on deck. Line down the right field line, and that ball on a line is off the wall. It's going to bang around down in the corner. Bogaerts going to score all the way from first base on an RBI double by David Ortiz. The Red Sox take a 1-0 lead. That one almost got out of here. A bullet on a line to right field.
Yeah, I thought it was going to have enough height to get out of the ballpark over that railing down there, but it does not. It hits right off the side. Just a little slider right there that's going to be inside, and Ortiz just missing the top of the wall, and they may take another look at this.
Torey Lovullo wants them to, and they will here. We'll see.
And look at that second replay. It looked like it's possible the ball hit on top of the wall. I think the original call is probably correct. Hitting the top of the wall and bouncing back into fair territory.
Mike Winters, the crew chief, taking a look at it. First base umpire Mark Wagner. Well, as it stands right now, a double and a run for the Red Sox on top 1-0. See if they overturn this call. Does appear to hit the padding.
Yeah, right there. It looks like it hits the padding, then bounces back into fair territory.
They've been holding court out there at second base with 4 Indians around him.
Everybody wants to hear what Big Papi's got to say.
They are taking a good long look at this one. We'll get another look here at this. Appears to hit the padding and stay in the yard.
Yeah, that's what I think too, Don. I think we agree on this one.
It is 2 bases. David Ortiz getting the news on the call from Mike Winters. So the Red Sox losing their challenge. David Ortiz remains at second base. Red Sox have a 1-0 advantage, and David now with a 10-game hitting streak. 5-14 along the way. His 4th double of that hitting streak. Here is Hanley Ramirez. Hanley returning to the Red Sox lineup on Monday after missing the club's previous 7 games. And a broken back grounder with the second baseman Ramirez throwing out Hanley Ramirez to end the inning. Red Sox grab the game's first run, take a 1-0 lead. Sox 14th annual WEI Nesson Jimmy Fund Radio Telethon, night 1 from Fenway Park. And welcome Dr. Richard Stone, Chief of Staff and Director of Adult Leukemia Program at Dana-Farber. Welcome to the booth, Doctor.
Well, thank you very much, Don. It's a great pleasure to be here.
Tell us a little bit of how you got involved with Dana-Farber and the Jimmy Fund.
Well, I've had a lifelong commitment to medicine. My dad, who incidentally was a Braves fan, died when I was 15 of kidney cancer. And I was always interested in science, so I went into medicine, and oncology seemed to fit with my interests and my desire to stay involved with patients in the long term. And the science of it is fantastic, as you've heard about so far tonight. So it's been a rewarding career for me.
Well, we've heard from many of the patients here today, and it is certainly a special relationship between the Red Sox and the Jimmy Fund, the community here in New England, really beyond an incredible partnership.
Absolutely. It's ever since I was a kid, I grew up in Swampscott, and to be involved with the Jimmy Fund and the Dana-Farber, it's really a penultimate experience for me, because I get to help patients and I get to participate in some of the fantastic advances that we have been able to make at the Dana-Farber, thanks to the partnership between our scientists and our clinicians.
I want to ask you about some of the advances that you have seen take place in the recent years here, and where the money goes that people may be thinking about donating tonight.
Well, the money goes right to help our research, and we believe in bench-to-bedside patient care, so our scientists are very focused on translating discoveries from the lab right into the clinic. So we're really right now in sort of dual mode. One is personalized medicine. We try to understand the basis for all the tumors so we can use targeted therapy when possible. And now we also have immune-directed therapy, which is an advance really brought to us by our brilliant immunologists at Dana-Farber, like Gordon Freeman, who now we can unleash the power of the immune system to kill cancer.
And what is it like to treat men and women who are battling cancer every day? That has to be difficult, but also rewarding at times when they're able to come through it.
It's incredibly rewarding. As a matter of fact, just last night, I got an email from one of my former patients, ex-Navy guy from southern New Hampshire, who said, I was sitting around the kitchen table. There's a guy who had leukemia about 5 years ago, is now cured. He said, I saw my kids laughing and talking to each other, and I just want to send you a picture and tell you how much it meant to be treated at Dana-Farber. And now I'm cured and I can experience my kids' lives. It was really quite amazing. It made it all worthwhile. We work hard, but when you see something like that, it makes it all worthwhile, let me tell you.
That's part of the thing for the patients, to know that they have the commitment from the doctors and the understanding from the doctors to be able to get through very tough moments.
Absolutely. We believe in patient-centered care. The patient's the focus. We try to meet patients where they are, find out what their needs are, what's important to them, what makes them tick, and of course we use the science and the clinical advances to help them live longer.
Well, today's such an important day every day, every year here at Fenway Park, and I know this goes on for you every day through the course of the year, but what would you say to somebody out there who's thinking about donating tonight?
I would say that you can't find a better place to put your money if you want to help people live longer, if you want to advance the cause of science and making better outcomes for patients with cancer. And I've seen it in my own lifetime. We cure cancers that patients routinely died when I was a fellow 25 years ago. Now these patients are living, and we're chipping away at cancer, cancer by cancer, subtype by subtype, and with more resources. And unfortunately, the federal government's not overwhelmingly forthcoming these days. With more resources from the community, we can do even more. Absolutely.
There's a pop-up that will head foul as Swihart gives it a look. And it seems that the people of this area are certainly very lucky to have this in their backyard as well, and known across the country as one of the very best.
Absolutely. We pride ourselves on being one of the top cancer centers in the country. And again, it's the mix of research in the labs and great clinical care, and the marriage of both by taking new discoveries and bringing them to patients as soon as we can. That's what we're all about.
We hope that you will make your gift tonight. 877-738-1234, and that is strike three, back-to-back Ks for Eduardo Rodriguez. Dr. Richard Stone, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you very much.
Great pleasure. Thanks so much for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
2 down here in the inning as Ryan Rayburn strikes out.
Looks like a slider that time from Rodriguez, down and in around the ankles to pick up the strikeout. So back-to-back strikeouts here in the second inning. And a pitch in there for a strike to Roberto Perez.
catcher, batting here with 2 down in the inning. 5 in a row, retired by Eduardo Rodriguez to begin his evening tonight and his 15th start of the year. As this one fouled off to the right, out of play. 3 strikeouts on the night for Eduardo Rodriguez. Night games have been much better for Eduardo, as Alex Spear points out in the Boston Globe. 1.75 ERA in night games. Day games not as good for Eduardo. Swing and a miss, and it's 2-2.
Rodriguez back to the changeup that time. Not too many changeups so far in this game, but that one at 88 miles an hour. Had Perez out in front.
Ooh, close pitch. Called the ball, full count.
Yeah, that last fastball, 97 from Rodriguez. So fouls the changeup up with the 97 mile an hour fastball away.
Fouled off, stays alive. Red Sox season tickets plans will soon be available for the 2016 season. For information about becoming a Red Sox season ticket holder, please call 617-226-6888 or visit redsox.com/season tickets today. Grounder that is slowly hit the Sandoval, bare hands and throws, and is able to get Perez. It does not run well. 3 up, 3 down, 1-0 Red Sox. Brought to you by Lexus and their pursuit of perfection. Now back at Fenway with the Red Sox have a 1-0 lead. They come to bat here in the bottom of the second inning. Pablo Sandoval, Travis Shaw, and Rusney Castillo. Sandoval batting out of the 6th spot in the Red Sox order. 10 homers, 39 runs batted in.
It's funny, we hear a lot of baseball players coming out of USC. Well, Bauer came out of UCLA. A Bruin.
Line to the left field corner, and that's going to be a fair ball. Off the wall in a hop, and Sandoval's got a hole with a very long single. And a good start to the bottom of the second inning for Boston.
Yeah, Ryan Rayburn did a nice job in left field tracking that ball down. That ball was hit very well by Sandoval, and you can see how far Rayburn's playing him over. So he's got a long way to go to make this play. It bounces high off the wall right into the glove and quickly back in. That's going to keep Sandoval at first base. That looked like a short double when it left the bat, but a nice play by Rayburn.
So lead runner on here for the Red Sox in the second inning, and here is Travis Shaw. 328, 5 homers, and 10 runs batted in. Well, the power has been impressive for Shaw last night, getting his 5th home run, and he has certainly enjoyed Fenway Park, but there's been some long home runs. And that one no different into the bleachers last night.
That's an off-speed pitch there that stayed inside the shore, and he really was able to pull that pitch.
Now on the ground up the middle into center field, a base hit for Shaw. Up to second base goes Sandoval. The first 2 Red Sox have reached here in the second inning.
Yeah, so Travis Shaw now is 6 for his last 10. No shift put on. Some teams we've seen have put a shift on him, not the Indians so far. And that time he hooks the ball past the right of the second baseman, Ramirez. See how far outside that ball is, and still able to hook it and pull it. I think the more you see of Shaw, the more you're going to see of shifts.
2 on, nobody out, and Rusney Castillo the batter. 279, 4 homers and 18 runs batted in. Getting the start tonight is Jackie Bradley Jr. with the night off, at least to begin the ball game, as the Red Sox rotate their outfield. With Hanley back in there on an everyday basis, Jerry, it's going to be a little tougher to get everybody in here and get enough playing time for everybody.
Yeah, we talked about that last night, that Hanley and, of course, Mookie are going to get most of the starts in the outfield, and it looks like, they're going to split up time between Rusney Castillo and Jackie Bradley Jr.
On the ground to third base, touching third is Avila's going across the diamond and off the mark into the Red Sox dugout. So he does get the foresight of Sandoval, but then tried to turn a double play to go to first base and threw it away. It'll be runners at second and third now after the miscue.
Yeah, he could see that as soon as he let the ball go from third base. He gets the easy out with tagging third, but then as soon as he started to make this sort of first, you could tell it was going to be off target. Kind of a sidearm throw, and Avila doesn't usually throw sidearm. He's usually pretty much right over the top. Drop down to the side, and that ball just sails right there on the first baseman, Santana. He can't knock it down.
So fielder's choice and an E5 on the play, second and third. And Blake Swihart takes a pitch up top for ball 1. 253 average coming into tonight with a home run, 18 runs batted in. Shaw at third, Castillo at second with 1 down. That's in there for a strike. 94 and on the corner.
The velocity picking up a little bit here in the second inning for Bauer. That time the combination of velocity and good location. Fastball inside corner.
The 2-1 pitch is a little bit high. Already 4 hits in the game for Boston. See the arsenal for Trevor Bauer.
I don't believe we have seen a changeup yet in this ball game. Fastball, slide, and a curveball.
And it's a fastball that misses low that loads the bases. He walks a number 9 man in Blake Swihart. On this 14th annual WEEI Ness and Jimmy Fund Radio Telethon, a look at our Arbella Insurance tote board. Right now at $898,577. I hope you will donate tonight. And again, as always, Red Sox Nation has been so generous. We ask you once again, on behalf of the patients and doctors that you'll be hearing from throughout the night, and tomorrow night from Fenway Park on this 2-day Jimmy Fund Radio Telethon. And the number to make your gift right on the screen, 877-738-1234. Bases filled with Red Sox. One down here in the second inning. Off the end of the bat, foul, and it's 0-2. That's kind of lunging after that pitch.
And staying with the slider that time against Mookie Betts and quickly getting ahead. See if he stays with it again, but a little bit farther outside. There's that breaking ball toward the end of the bat of Betts.
Swing and a miss, and he strikes out. That's the first strikeout for Bauer, who goes to the breaking ball.
Now back to the curveball that time to pick up the strikeout. So no slider away. A curveball down in the dirt. Umpires are conferring here to see if Betts fouled that ball off.
The catcher definitely did not catch it. It got the dirt.
Didn't look to me like he made contact.
I don't know. Tough to tell. Back up there again with a count of 0-2. Gets another chance. As Mike Muchlinski checking with the first base umpire Mark Wagner. Tried another. This time Mookie not chasing.
Yeah, came back with the same pitch. A curveball again. That time in the dirt. And blocked nicely by Roberto Perez.
Line to left. Rayburn going back. He won't get it. It's over his head. From third base comes Shaw. He'll score. Rusney Castillo behind him will score. And here comes Blake Swihart to score. So a bases clearing double for Mookie Betts. And the Red Sox take a 4-0 lead. What a different result that is from the strikeout to a 3-run double.
And the reason 3 runs are able to come across, this ball is hit so hard when it hits the wall out there, it bounces back toward shortstop, and Lindor, the shortstop, was not getting out there to cover the baseball. Now he tries to track it down, and by the time he gets to it, 3 runs come across. Swihart scoring all the way from first base. So Mookie Betts, I don't know, man. I thought he might have caught a break on that foul tip call, and ends up lining the ball for a double and 3 RBIs. So that's a good result.
Well, the Red Sox will certainly take it, as Mickey Callaway, the pitching coach, out there here to talk to Trevor Bauer, as Brock Holt will be coming up. Gonna look at that pitch. Whether he made contact or not. So I thought it changed direction. If you watch the spin,
you did?
I felt it made contact. This one is in there for a strike.
Let's see if we can hear contact. Did you see it change direction?
I thought it, well, on the closer view that we had, if you watch the rotation of the baseball, 0-1 pitch is going to miss. Just watch the rotation.
Yeah, I don't see anything change.
No, I don't see any change either.
I
did the first time. I thought I did the first time.
I watched it really, really close.
Yeah, you're right. I thought it changed direction. It did not. See what we see here.
This is what the first base umpire was looking at. I don't even think it was close.
Well, it turns into a 3-run double.
Yeah, regardless, the Red Sox and Mookie Betts will take it.
1-2 pitch coming here to Holt. And that's up and away. Bauer running into trouble here in the second inning. His pitching line brought to you by your Eastern Lexus dealers. Inning and a third, 5 hits, 4 runs. He's walked to batter. No strikeouts so far. Thought he had. Mookie Betts struck out. And there's already action now for the Indians. Kyle Crockett up in the pen. 2-2 is in the dirt for ball 3. Holt with a triple in the first inning. Xander Bogaerts waiting on deck. Red Sox batting here in the home half of the second inning. On the ground and by the dive of Santana at first base. Here comes Betts around. He'll score. And the Red Sox will take a 5-0 lead. Brock Holt, his second hit of the night, drives in a run.
And both times tonight, Brock Holt pulling the ball. First time on a line in right field, get a triple. This time by the dive of Santana. Santana might have got a glove on it or a piece of the baseball, but it gets by him, and Brock Holt drives in the run. And Santana with the crossover step, the dive, and does it deflect off the glove? Hard to tell.
There is Xander Bogaerts with Holt at first base. And this one sprayed foul off to the right, out of play. So 5 runs, 6 hits, no errors for Boston. No runs, no hits, and an error for the Indians. Wild swing and a miss. Ball gets away, and Holt moves up to second base without a problem.
Big sweeping slider that time from Bauer. That makes it a little bit tough for Perez to catch. Even though Perez is set up outside, that ball deflects right off the glove, and Brock Holt moves up in a scoring position. That's actually a pitch that could have been handled, I thought, by Perez.
Yeah, he's charged with a pass ball. That allows Brock Holt to get into scoring position. Now foul back, and it hangs at 0-2. 394 with runners in scoring position for Xander Bogaerts. And 394 leads the major leagues. Not going to chase that. It's 1-2. Raining in Baltimore right now, where the Mets and Orioles scheduled to play tonight at Camden Yards. Yankees and Minnesota scoreless tonight in the third inning. 50th pitch of the night for Trevor Bauer, the starter for the Tribe. And Bogaerts will line it foul. This summer, pump up the fun with Irving Oil. You could win a Ford Escape, a Can-Am Spyder, $5,000 in cash, or other great instant prizes. Visit a participating Irving Oil and IrvingFun.com for details. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Xander Bogaerts. Red Sox off to the good start tonight. A run in the first and 4 in the second for Torey Lovullo. Swinging a foul tip held onto by Roberto Perez for strike 3, and there's the first strikeout for Bauer.
Back to the slider right here to the outside part of the plate, just off the outside edge. Everything away from Bogaerts, and that at bat.
Lincoln Insurance, great service, great coverage, and a great price for auto, home, or life insurance. Well, Terry Francona to make the change as Bauer roughed up for the second straight outing. Pitching change from Fenway with the Red Sox on top 5-0. Southwest Airline. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. The chase from the game is Trevor Bauer, still responsible for the runner at second base, and Brock Holt, inning and 2/3 this time out, giving up 5 runs. Now David Ortiz standing in, facing the new Indians pitcher. And David cranks one foul off to the left. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Kia. Kyle Crockett been warming up for the better part of the first inning, in the second, and now he's in the game. 16th overall appearance without a record, a 2.16 earned run average, 7 strikeouts to 4 walks, and opponent sitting at 233. Ortiz is the 8th member of the Red Sox to bat here in the bottom of the second inning, and he grounds it foul. Kyle Crockett has been recalled 4 times this year for the Indians. Spent most of the season at AAA Columbus, where he was 3-1 with a 5.97 earned run average. Was on the Indians opening day roster. Close pitch, 1-2.
A lot of fastballs from Crockett, 75% of the time. Although right now he has David Ortiz in a breaking ball count.
Fouls it off down the left field line. Hangs tough here, 1-2. And Ramirez waiting on deck. Something all got started with a single by Pablo Sandoval. Travis Shaw had a single. Castillo reached on a fielder's choice. Big hit, a bases loaded double by Mookie Betts after it looked like he had struck out. 1-2. On the ground into the shift on the right side. Ramirez with a long throw, but he gets it there in plenty of time to end the inning. Red Sox score 4 times, take a 5-0 lead. Propane and natural gas equipment for facilities throughout the Northeast. Did you know FWWeb did that? Learn more about this proud Boston Red Sox sponsored FWWeb.com. 5-0. Red Sox have the lead. Long wait for Eduardo Rodriguez, who's retired the first 6 Cleveland Indians that he's faced in the ball game tonight. Abraham Almonte, the center fielder, going off the mask of Swihart, rattles him.
Underneath the fastball and up off the mask right there on the right side for Blake Swihart.
A good live fastball tonight for Eduardo Rodriguez, anywhere from 94 to 97.
Yeah, all 3 of the pitches to in this at bat have been fastballs, and they've all been up in the zone. Now a little bit higher.
Three strikeouts to the first 6 batters that Eduardo has faced in the ball game tonight. And a swing and a miss for strike 3. That's 4 strikeouts now for Rodriguez. With 1 out, let's check in with Garrett Austin.
Thanks, Don. I talked to pitching coach Carl Willis, and he told me that one thing that's impressed him about Eduardo Rodriguez is his ability to bounce back after he struggled in an outing. Willis said that for a 22-year-old playing at the highest level, that a bad outing can sometimes create doubt. Willis said not for Rodriguez. He said they'll usually sit down, go over what went wrong, and Rodriguez usually says that's easily fixable. Don?
All right, Garrett, thanks very much. He has had some resilient outings. And trying to have one here after a very difficult outing at Miami against the Marlins. 5 innings, 8 runs. Prior to that, had a good outing, even though he took the loss at New York against the Yankees. 7 innings, only 2 runs.
Now that last setup for the strikeout was perfect against Almonte. He went high with the fastball up and out of the zone, then right back to the breaking ball down low. He changed the eye level and picked up the strikeout against Almonte. There's the slider that's going to be down and in after the high fastball set it up.
Foul tip held onto by Swihart. That's back-to-back Ks and 5 in all for Eduardo Rodriguez.
Once again, the fastball, this time at 97 miles an hour from Rodriguez. To the outside part of the plate, foul tip. Nice play by Swihart. And that was a foul tip. I saw the ball change direction on that one.
5 Ks now in the night for Eduardo Rodriguez, who's retired 4 of the last 5 by way of the K. And Mike Aviles taking strike 1. Strike 2. DraftKings.com is paying out over $300 million this baseball season. DraftKings has given out $34 million to Boston residents alone since the site launched. Get your free entry into a one-day fantasy baseball contest today using promo code NESSN. Close pitch could have been called a strike.
Well, that's a good pitch by Rodriguez, and I'm surprised it was not called a strike. 0-2 nasty fastball down about knee high and on the corner.
Now back to Rodriguez. He will run a bit, flip underhanded in time to get Aviles. Through 2.5, it's 5-0 Boston. West Side Story in a show-stopping performance that's been keeping audiences on their toes for 20 years. Foxwoods, the official casino and resort of the Boston Red Sox. Book your tickets at foxwoods.com. 5-0 Red Sox have the lead into the bottom of the third inning. Hanley Ramirez with his second at bat of the night. All 5 Red Sox runs charged to the starter tonight, Trevor Bauer, who hung around for just an inning and 2/3. Now Ramirez chops one to short. A high hop for Lindor. That gets Ramirez for the first out of the inning.
Did you say Cirque du Soleil or Cirque du Soleil?
No, totally different thing. Olizio ID.
What did you say?
I don't know. Eloise ID is the name of it.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought it said Cirque du Soleil.
No. Here's a look at the Arbella Insurance tote board. $924,000. $426 the total. Again, we hope you will make your gift tonight. 877-738-1234. One out in the last of the third for Pablo Sandoval. He singled in the second.
And by the way, you saw that tote board, and there's no such thing as a small donation. I mean, every donation means something. It adds up. There's no question about that. And excellent time tonight and tomorrow. If you can, even if it's the smallest of donations, just please make it.
We'll be hearing from a lot of the doctors and patients throughout the night here tonight at Fenway Park. And, of course, tomorrow in day 2 of the WEI Ness and Jimmy Fund Radio Telethon from Fenway Park.
Well, Sandoval tonight taking extra bases away right there with the line drive and then a slow ground ball, barehanding it. Going to first base to pick up the out. So a couple of nice defensive plays by Pablo so far in this game.
Sends one to third on the ground, and Aviles will fire it to first base in time to get him.
There are pitches he hits. I don't know how he hits them. I mean,
that was one of them right there.
That ball looked like it was right at his hands.
Looks like it kind of hurt, too. Trying to pull the bat in.
Yeah. That's not exactly what I mean by hands inside the baseball, but that's exactly what it was. And somehow got the bat on it.
A check swing foul off the bat of Travis Shaw. Shaw singled to center field in the second, 1 for 1. Right now you can get up to 60 months with no interest on anything at Jordan's Furniture. Furnish one room or your entire home. Best of all, you get to enjoy it now. Visit Jordans.com for details. On the ground up the middle into center field, and another base hit for Travis Shaw. He's 2 for 2 on the night.
And both base hits coming in just about the exact same place. If they had been in a shift, both would probably be outs, but instead, without the shortstop over there, right up the middle for the base hit. So Shaw 2 for 2 tonight.
Well, in 12 home games for Shaw, hitting at .500. All of his home runs in the major leagues have come here at Fenway Park. Away from Fenway at .091. Still looking for that first home run, but he's been incredible here at Fenway. Now Rusney Castillo will take a pitch in the dirt. Reached on a fielder's choice in the second inning. Rocket coming into the game throwing strikes. 15 pitches so far, 12 for strikes. There is further action for the Indians. They try to piece together the rest of this game. Ryan Webb, right-hander, up in the pen after the starter tonight. Trevor Bauer lasted just an inning and 2/3. Red Sox getting a run in the first, 4 in the second. Soft toss to first, and Shaw back to the bag.
So Terry Francona there had a nice chat with him earlier this afternoon. He actually woke him up from a nap. He was on his couch taking a nap. He had gotten back from the hospital. He went there very early this morning with Brad Mills to be along with John Farrell. So I don't think he appreciated seeing me and waking him up from the nap, but we had a nice chat after he did wake up.
It's already his 3rd season with the Indians now. Castillo flips one foul down the right field line out of play and evens the count at 2-2. And there, Ramirez grounded out to begin the inning. Sandoval grounding out for Travis Shaw with a 2-out base hit. The center fielder, Abraham Almonte, over to the right center. Good sized gap out in left center.
Because Rusney has good power to the opposite field. We saw that in the last series here against Seattle, going into the bullpen for a home run.
Blake Swihart waiting on deck. Red Sox batting in their half of the third inning. Castillo against left-handed pitching this year, hitting at 385. Now the lefty in the game after the right-hander started the game. Waiting on a 3-2 pitch. And that's ball 4, down and in. So after 2 quick outs, a single and a walk, has 2 on with 2 down. They'll take the family to Fenway one last time before summer is over with the Red Sox end of summer family pack through Sunday. This package includes game tickets, free parking, a free duck boat ride to and from Fenway Park, and a free hot dog and Coke. It's a great deal for the whole family. 2 outs, runners at first and second, and Blake Swihart coming up. The catcher walked and scored in the second inning. To right field as Sands coming in, won't get it, plays it on a hop. Around from second base is Shaw to score. Now they're going to try and score Rusney Castillo. He'll stop, try to get back to third, and will be out. He was headed down the line when he tried to throw the brakes on. Run does get in. Red Sox lead at 6-0, but Castillo thrown out at third. happen. Watch how good things are happening to local people at easternbank.com/goodthingshappen. Back in Boston at Fenway Park on the Ness and Jimmy Fund Radio Telethon from Fenway tonight and tomorrow night, where the Red Sox have a 6-0 lead in this game. Christian Haggerty joins us from Osterville, Massachusetts. Christian, great to meet you. Thanks for coming up.
You too.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about your story and what happened to you.
So back in 2013, I was diagnosed with osteosarcoma. It's a rare form of bone cancer found in children. Yeah, the odds weren't very good, but with the help of the Jimmy Fund, Dana-Farber, and Children's Hospital, you know, they got me better. And now I'm doing better than ever. So.
How many treatments did you have to go through during the course of the time? And first, let me start off by telling you what first went through your mind when you found out that you had this bone cancer.
When I first heard, man, I was in shock. I couldn't believe it. You just associate cancer with death, so I was thinking, you know, the worst things possible. But, you know, thankfully, and I went through 40 rounds of chemo. So each round was either a day, sometimes 3 days, sometimes 5 days. And each day was a long day. So get in 8 a.m., usually leave 7 or 8 p.m. So.
Well, you have quite a cheering crew behind you here. Your entire family is with us.
My whole family, my 3 older brothers, my brother's girlfriend, and my parents.
We've had a lot of people come in here along with some of our guests. We've never had a contingent like this, and I'm guessing this is a big part of.
I got quite the cheering crew, that's for sure. There they are, taking videos.
There they all are, right here in the booth with us.
And you had all the support, obviously, as you were going through this very difficult disease.
Through it all, yeah. It was really helpful. You know, the Jimmy Fund does make it a lot better than it really is. You know, with the really upbeat attitude and to kind of try to be optimistic as possible.
Well, I've heard that from so many different people that have gone through there, that the experience, they seem to make it easier. And I know, I can't even imagine it ever being an easy experience, but at the same time, they do help.
Yeah, it's not easy at all, but, you know, I really just couldn't imagine better care anywhere else in the world. You know, we have world-renowned doctors, Dr. Wong, Dr. Rodriguez Galindo were the doctors I was with. They're just really unbelievable. They know their stuff, and they're really, you know, they'll tell you the truth, tell you what's happening, but also tell you be optimistic.
What about the follow-up? You know, what now? I mean, what do you have to do now?
Yeah, so every 3 months I go in for chest scans, and every 5 months I go for a full body scan. And I actually have a scan coming up on Thursday morning. So we're hoping and praying that goes well.
What would you tell people at home who are thinking about donating tonight?
Well, I'll just tell you, I donated. I made a $100 donation. I'd like to challenge everyone out there to match my donation, or even more. And, you know, every little bit helps. I've been able to, because of the doctors at the Jimmy Fund, continue landscaping, which I did before, and using that money to now donate to the Jimmy Fund, I think, can help a lot more people. You know, some people aren't as lucky as me, and I think we can really change the statistics and numbers of cancer.
Well, you are test positive here. That it certainly helps, and your family is here along with you. And we thank you so much for sharing your story, being so
thanks
strong.
For having
thank
me.
you.
I'd just like to say one more thing. Free Tom Brady.
Well, I get the runner at second base. Thank you so very much.
All right, free Tom Brady.
There you go.
You were saving that, right?
Christian Haggerty joining us here in the booth with now 2 down in the inning. Lindor retired at second base as it turned out. Brantley will reach at first. A tough hop there on Bogarts. Actually took it off the bare hand. Brantley with too much speed at first base. So 2 down, runner at first, and Carlos Santana the batter. Santana struck out swinging in the second inning. As the catcher Swihart heads out here to talk to Rodriguez. For every Red Sox game that goes into extra innings or the Sox get a save, CVS Pharmacy will make a donation to Children's Hospital towards a $25,000 commitment once again this season. CVS Pharmacy, the official pharmacy of the Boston Red Sox. On the outside corner. And so far, Eduardo's been very good in the ball game tonight. Just relinquishing his first hit here in the 4th inning, after retiring the first 10 Indians that he faced in the ball game. Chopped off the plate. Sandoval waiting forever for it to come down, and his throw is just in time. Nice play by Sandoval. 3.5 done from Fenway. 6-0 Boston. For a limited time, sign up for a free checking account with Eastern Bank and get $100. Just text money to 36698. Message and data rates may apply. On to the bottom of the 4th inning back at Fenway Park. 6-0. Red Sox have the lead. A run in the first, 4 in the second, a run in the third, and now into the bottom of the 4th inning. It'll be the top of the Red Sox order. It's a new pitcher into the game as Ryan Webb now in. As Betts takes a pitch inside for ball 1. Third Indians pitcher of the night. Webb into his 30th game. 1-0 with a 2.33 earned run average. 38 2/3, 24 strikeouts. Opponent's inning at 214 against Webb. Kyle Crockett ended up going an inning into third while he was in there. 2 hits, charged with 1 run. Walked a batter, did not strike anybody out. Relief of Trevor Bauer, who started this game for the Indians. Went an inning and 2/3, giving up 5 runs. Brock Holt, then Xander Bogaerts as part of this bottom of the 4th inning. Webb signing with the Cleveland Indians as a free agent on April the 13th after he'd been outrighted by the Dodgers. Ground ball to short. Lindor got it there in a hurry to retire Betts. Toyo Tires, the official tire of the Boston Red Sox. Whether you're taking your truck off road, the kids to practice, or your sports car to its limits, there's a Toyo Tire for you. Visit toyotires.com to find a dealer near you. One out for Brock Holt. 2 for 2 in the game. Here's the Red Sox second baseman. Holt with a triple in the first inning, a single in the second, and an RBI now. 35 on the year. Ahead 2-0.
It's one of the nights where you can really run through a bullpen very quickly, and Terry Francona trying to go maybe a couple of innings with each of his members of the bullpen and try to get through this ball game down 6-0.
A starter lasting an inning and 2/3 in Trevor Bauer. Holt fouls it off to the left out of play. Well, tomorrow at 6, don't miss Red Sox first pitch presented by Joseph Abboud, available at Men's Warehouse. TC and Eck will have continuing live coverage of the Jimmy Fund Radio Telethon.
Joseph Abboud looks like George Hamilton.
Yes.
I mean, how much tanner can you possibly get?
Yeah, he's got some sun this weekend.
I mean, is he spraying that on, or is that the real thing?
I think it's a real thing. This one fouled off.
I mean, look at this guy. Every time he comes here, he's more tan than what he was the last time he came up to the ballpark.
Now, he was here all weekend.
And he's not getting that in New York. There's no way.
No. He was here this weekend, and of course there were 3 sunny days. His seats are in the sun here for part of the day. And
yeah, but Don, you're a sun goddess. I've caught your act, and I have never seen you that dark.
This is on the ground to short. Lindor to his left, and there are 2 outs in the inning. Right now, Ace Ticket has super savings on all Red Sox tickets. Tickets start at just $9. To New York Yankees tickets, that'll start at $33. Supplies are limited. Visit aceticket.com right now for super savings.
Yeah, Webb, a ground ball type pitcher, gets a couple of ground ball outs here in the 4th inning. Both ground balls to shortstop.
Bogarts reaching on a fielder's choice in the first inning, struck out swinging in the second inning. And a swing and a miss, 0-2. It's time now for some Sox culture, brought to you by Kettle One Vodka. Xander Bogaerts' favorites. Fast and Furious favorite movie, Law and Order. Trey Songz, music artist, and MLB At Bat is his favorite app.
You know any Trey Songz songs?
I do not. Do you?
No.
Okay. Strike 3 is Xander Bogaerts strikes out for the second time tonight. Red Sox have a 6-0 lead. The 75 season in their 119th game. The Red Sox lost to the Angels 5-3. But Jerry again.
Oh,
big night.
Wow.
2 hits, including a double and 2 RBIs to the Angels that day.
Off Bill Lee, too.
Yep.
Lefty against lefty.
Ryan Rayburn leading it off here. Strikeout victim in the 2nd inning. Rayburn getting his 2nd look at Eduardo Rodriguez tonight. This is on the ground to 2nd base, and Brock Holt goes to 1st base and getting Rayburn.
Well, right now, Rodriguez has got excellent stuff in this game. Very good fastball tonight. Mixing in the slide. A few changeups, not many changeups.
There's Roberto Perez, who grounded out to 3rd base in the 2nd inning. Five strikeouts so far tonight for Eduardo Rodriguez, as that one is in there for a strike, and it's 0-2. On the ground left side, Sandoval on a tough op as it went off the lip of the grass. Throws to 1st base for out number 2. Hey, Red Sox Nation, start earning rewards for every Dunkin' run. Enroll any DD card online at ddperks.com. Enjoy your free beverage upon enrolling and start earning rewards today. The Red Sox run on Dunkin'. 2 outs here in the 5th inning. Abraham Almonte, the batter. Almonte struck out swinging in the 3rd inning. Now grounds one to Bogarts at short. And it's another 1-2-3 inning for Eduardo Rodriguez. Halfway through, it is 6-0 Boston. Check out the box score. You buy Lexus in their pursuit of perfection. Digital Federal Credit Union. See what DCU can save you. Your local New England Ford dealers. The Scion TC. And by the Kia Sorrento. And we head to the bottom of the 5th inning, 6-0. Red Sox have the lead over the Indians, and David Ortiz jolts this out to left center. Almonte running it down at the track of the wall, and David heads for second base standing with a leadoff double to begin the bottom of the 5th inning.
Good hitting there by David Ortiz, working against a guy that's going to run the ball away from him, and instead of trying to pull it, finds that gap in left center field. You see the tail on that ball going away from Ortiz, and David picks up his second double of the night. Well, that average has really continued to climb. If Ortiz came into the game at 263, 2 for 3 so far in this game tonight. They make a good, solid contact.
So Ryan Webb here giving up a leadoff double. That's after a 1-2-3 4th inning in his first inning of relief. And for Ortiz, his second double of the night. Red Sox out hitting the Indians 9-1 in this game. And Callaway back on the phone again here for the Indians. Bullpen busy again as Hanley Ramirez has grounded out twice, once to second and once to short. 0 for 2 in the ball game. Austin Adams is just up for the Indians in the pen. Center fielder Abraham Almonte over into right center. A lot of room out there in left center as there was for Ortiz. There is now for Hanley Ramirez. To second base on a hot shot there, but picked by Ramirez, who throws out Hanley Ramirez. David had to scamper back to the bag at second.
That's happened to Ramirez a lot this year, where they shade him up the middle at second base and hits the ball hard in that direction, but right at the second baseman. You see where he's playing, not that far from the bag. Gets blocked a little bit by the umpire right there. Takes a peek at Ortiz, no play there, and gets the out at first base, does Ramirez. And Hanley hits a lot of balls in that directions, and they end up a lot of times in that glove of the second baseman who's shading him up the middle.
One down, Big Papi at second base, and here is Pablo Sandoval. Sandoval, the single to left in the second, grounded out to third base in the third. Back towards the mound, Webb will look Ortiz back before throwing out Sandoval. 2 outs in the inning. Well, just one Nexium 24-hour day gives you all day, all night protection from frequent heartburn. Go to Nexium24hour.com for savings and pick up Nexium 24-hour at your local Stop and Shop. Ortiz at second with 2 away, and here comes Travis Shaw, who's had a good night tonight. 2 hits, both singles to center field. He has scored twice in this game. Second game for Shaw in a Red Sox uniform. He's played 3 different positions: first base, third base, and left field. Multi-hit games now in 6 of his last 7 home games. And now he goes to left field, and that's in for a hit. To third goes Ortiz on the 3rd hit of the night for Travis Shaw.
You're going to like this approach by Travis Shaw. I mean, he's pulled the ball twice to the right of the second baseman for base hits. Now he gets the ball away. That fastball running away from him and takes it to the opposite field. I mean, that's just really, really nice hitting by Travis Shaw. Charge put out there by Rayburn, but cannot make the play. Ortiz has to be held at third base.
First and third, 2 down, and Rusney Castillo coming up. Grounded into a fielder's choice in the second. He walked in the third. Now here he is in the fifth with runners at the corners and 2 down. Rusney has been up here in Boston since July the 27th when he was called up from the Paw Sox. Spending most of his time in right field, where he is again tonight. Nice pick there in the backhand by Perez.
Yeah, very sharp by Perez right there. That ball was a slider moving away from him, and he just goes to the backhand and able to keep it from the backstop. Very nice play. Looked like a first baseman on that play right there, picking a ball out of the dirt.
Inside, almost got a piece of Castillo.
Didn't miss the uniform top by very much. Able to get the catching out of the way and also the shirt.
On the ground and up the middle, ranging from short, diving is Lindor. Gets up and his throw is late. Run scores. David Ortiz scores and the Red Sox take a 7-0 lead.
Well, a nice effort by Lindor as at shortstop. You can see the pitcher right there. Webb pull his hand back and let that ball go through. Lindor diving, but really no chance at first base to get Castillo. And another pitching change coming up.
So a infield hit for Castillo and an RBI chases Webb from the game. 7-0 Boston. Seven to nothing. Red Sox have the lead now, looking for more with 2 down here in the 5th inning. And Blake Swihart batting with Travis Shaw at second. Rusney Castillo at first base. Swihart's been on twice tonight, a walk and a single, as he takes strike one from Austin Adams. 20th appearance, 2-0. The 3.42 earned run average, 18 strikeouts. One sitting at 266 against Adams. Started the season on the major league roster. Ground ball towards second. Ramirez will flip to second base for the force out. That ends the inning. Red Sox add a run, take a 7-0 lead through 5. NESN Jimmy Fund Radio Telethon from Fenway Park. Carl Nickerson, 38 years of age, born and raised in Jamaica Plain, now residing in Walpole, joins us. Thanks for coming up. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about your story and what happened to you.
Last year I was diagnosed with testicular cancer. Thank God a few years, I would say about a decade before that, I was told to do some self-examinations. And because of that, I got an early detection on it. And got some work at Dana-Farber where they did surgery, had the tumor removed. Went there for follow-up treatment. I'm still going every 3 months, blood test and 6 months CT scans. But a year into it, I'm healthy. I'm doing great. I feel great. I'm glad to be a part of this. The Jimmy Fund is awesome.
What were the people like there for you that you came in contact with, the doctors and the people that helped you?
They were so, they care so much about everybody. Everybody has a different, unique story walking in there. And what I think is great is that they really listen to where you're coming from, your situation, and they really help you along tremendously. Great work that they do at Dana-Farber.
Must be an incredible, scary time for you at the time, but it seems like they can sort of put your mind at ease in some ways.
Yes, yes. You know, when you're told you have cancer, you think worst case scenarios. But they gave me a lot of information where they knew I knew I had a chance. I knew this wasn't going to be the end of me. I knew that I was going to get through it. One of the first things they told me was 80% of what your results are going to be is going to be mental. So think you're going to get through it, know you're going to get through it, and you will get through it. So that was great.
What would you tell some of the people at home who are thinking about donating tonight?
Please donate whatever you can. But yes, we need as much help as possible. This is a deadly disease that's taking so many of us away across all races, religions, and creeds. So as much help as we can get, I think will be great to cure cancer, hopefully one day.
Well, it has been an incredible partnership over the years between the Red Sox and the Jimmy Fund and the Dana-Farber really Major League Baseball, they're trying a lot of different places trying to replicate what the Red Sox have done here successfully for so long. Well, you're on, I understand, today as well, so you've been all over the media today.
Yep, I'm doing whatever I can. Gotta represent, gotta get the word out. Anything I can do to help.
And we certainly appreciate you joining us as well. And what lies ahead now for you? Just regular checkups, right?
Regular checkups, stay healthy. I have a new career. I'm working at New York Life, so I'm really giving back. Full circle. I'm doing everything I can to help folks. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And
thank you so much for having me.
Thank you,
Don.
telling us your story.
Thank you, Jerry. You guys are great.
Thank
it's
you.
a dream come true being here with you guys.
Well, appreciate it very much.
Thank you so much.
Well, tonight, night one, we'll be hearing a lot of these stories tonight, tomorrow night, all day tomorrow on our WEINS and Jimmy Fund Radio Telethon. This is down to third base and foul as Sandoval reaches into foul ground. 1-2. Our thanks to Carl Nickerson for joining us. Two outs here in the sixth inning. Red Sox out hitting the Indians 11-1 as the pitch will miss outside. And Terry, so far it's just been an outstanding effort for Eduardo Rodriguez.
Yeah, it really has. He's done a great job tonight keeping the ball down. He's got a number of strikeouts, a lot of ground ball outs in this game. And, a little bit different than last outing when I think a lot of his pitches were elevated, but not tonight. Working at a nice pace, getting quick outs, not running too deep in counts, although it is a 3-2 count right now, but not very often tonight. Pretty good shape at 71 pitches right now.
On the ground up the middle and into center field. A 2-out base hit for Jose Ramirez. Just the second hit of the night for the Indians.
Now, just as I say, he's keeping the ball down. He elevates the changeup that time. A little bit too high. And that time, Ramirez able to take it up the middle for a base hit. There's the changeup. The location is away, but the pitch is upstairs. And Ramirez had been 0 for his last 21. And then picks up that base hit on the off-speed pitch.
Here is Francisco Lindor, 1 for 2. Lindor lined out to third base in the first inning, single to center in the fourth inning. Wrap foul off to the right. Left side, Sandoval looked at second, now turns and fires to first in time on a nice play to end the top of the sixth inning. 7-0 Boston. Nothing. Red Sox have the lead over the Indians. Congratulations. Just got engaged at Fenway Park.
Good luck.
We're on the monster seats at Fenway as leading it off and grounding one to shortstop is Mookie Betts. Throw is off the mark with a tag applied by Santana on the way by.
El Rodriguez tonight has been very, very good, keeping the ball down. A couple of breaking balls, you'll see sliders for strikeouts. Keeping him down in the strike zone and in and off the plate. Breaking ball right there for a ground ball to third base, and then followed by a fastball for another ground ball out in this game. Actually jamming the hitter a little bit there. And Rodriguez has been very, very good in this game
tonight against the Cleveland Indians. Only 2 hits.
One down for Brock Holt to take strike one. Oh, the triple in the first, a single in the second. Grounded out to shortstop in the 4th inning. Now the Red Sox end of summer family pack is back this year through Sunday. Take the whole family to Fenway Park and get free parking, a free duck boat ride, a free hot dog and Coke. Visit redsox.com/family pack for tickets. Austin Adams back out there again. Got the final out of the 5th as the first out of the 6th inning. Relief of Ryan Webb, who went an inning and 2/3. The Indians try to piece together this game with their bullpen. Their starter, Trevor Bauer, only lasted an inning and 2/3, giving up 5 of the 7 Boston runs. And this combination together again. Brad Mills, Terry Francona, so successful here in doing so. Of course, Brad Mills was the manager of the Houston Astros for rejoining Tito again. Outside for ball 3. Holt to left. Rayburn makes the catch on the edge of the warning track. He was in a pretty good spot as it turned out there, and left. 2 down. That'll take us to Xander Bogaerts. Well, the Red Sox have 7 runs on 11 hits, and Xander has not been part of the hit parade yet, as he reached on a fielder's choice in the 1st inning. Since then has struck out twice. Rolls it over, foul at the dish, and it's 0-2. Yankees and Twins tonight tied 1-1 in the 6th inning. Toronto trailing Philadelphia tonight 4-3 in the 5th inning. Game difference between the Yankees and the Blue Jays heading into tonight's action. Top the American League East right now, the New York Yankees.
That was big for them to go into Toronto and take 2 out of 3 over this past weekend.
After the Blue Jays made an incredible run.
Yeah, they were on fire.
As it stands, they've won 8 of their last 10 games. But as you mentioned last night, look out for Baltimore. They've won 4 straight. And a late start tonight after a rain delay, and they trail the Mets tonight 3-0. Ground ball foul. Stay tuned for Red Sox Final presented by Uno's. TC and Eck will have the latest on the American League East and the wild card races. Grounded foul into the Indians' dugout. No, just above it, right up over the roof.
Yeah, you better take that Yankee hat off. Get that hat off in a hurry, didn't he?
Yes,
Once he
did,
realized it was not going to be popular.
Now he's explaining it.
Yeah, I got the ball. Yeah. I'm shaking my head. Wait a minute. Whoops.
Bogaerts sends this out towards left center field, and that's going to one hop the wall right by the 379 marker. And into second base with his first hit of the night, a two-base hit for Xander Bogaerts.
Well, Xander now does join the hit parade for the Red Sox as he gets a fastball inside and pulls it. Finds that gap in left center field, rolls it all the way to the wall, and with 2 outs, Bogaerts at second base in scoring position. That's what I love about Bogaerts, the fact that he can use the whole field. He's been using right field exceptionally well. He can find that gap in left center field. He can pull the ball. And that's how you hit 300. I mean, you usually don't hit 300 just using one part of the field.
So it's second with 2 down for David Ortiz, who's had 2 doubles in this game tonight. Indians shifting on the right side. And a swing and a miss. Healthy cut there by Big Poppy. 98 on the fastball there from Austin Adams.
And that's the best velocity he has shown so far in the game tonight. Elevating the 98-mile-an-hour fastball about letter high.
Another big rip there by Ortiz and another 98-mile-an-hour fastball. In the air down the left field line. Long run for Rayburn over by the stands, and he will not have a play, but it's a foul ball as it turns out.
Well, that ball looked like it came back a little bit, didn't it? I thought it was going to be into the stands at the beginning and started to fight its way back toward fair territory. See Rayburn going right to the line, and that ball just to the left of the foul line.
He's lucky that didn't land fair.
Ortiz certainly hoping for the best on that left field line. He thinks it's going to be fouls. He's watching it all of a sudden, and you realize this might be a fair ball.
Bogaerts at second base, 2 down here in the Boston 6th inning. Red Sox on top, 7-0. Just missed, a little bit low.
A very good changeup that time by Adams. Just missing the bottom of the strike zone. There's the change grip, and I think the way the catcher caught that ball made it look a little bit lower than what it actually was.
Ortiz thought about it. Did not go, says Mike Winters. And down to first base goes Big Papi with a 2-out walk.
There's no way he went there, Don.
Nope.
No way.
Didn't go.
Nice to hear you say that.
Yep. Able to hold up that time. And Hanley Ramirez coming up here. Only member of the Red Sox starting 9 not to have a base hit tonight, although he has hit the ball hard. He has grounded out 3 times. Twice to second, once to short. Chopper to first base, and Santana will tag the runner to end the inning as it is 7-0. Red Sox have the lead. The Scion TC, which behind the scenes part of Fenway would you like to see the most? Text Sox 1 for the announcer booth. Text Sox 2 for the clubhouse. Sox 3 for inside the green monster. Sox 4 for the production truck. Text your answer to 536-536. Message and data rates may apply. One message per vote. Visit NESN.com/terms for terms and conditions as well as privacy policy. I would have to go with clubhouse on that list.
Well, you know, I've seen the clubhouse and I've seen the announcer's booth. I've seen inside the green monster. I think the production truck would be my favorite.
High drive to deep right field, a long way to right, and that ball is gone off the bat of Michael Brantley as the Indians get on the board. Home run surrendered by Eduardo Rodriguez to right field.
Now Brantley picks up number 9 on the season, and it was a no-doubter once it left the bat. Something off speed this time. It looked like a slider that just didn't slide. It stayed on the inside part of the plate. And Brantley takes it out of the ballpark. Tonight, you know, Rodriguez has had a good slider, but that one a little bit flat. And Brantley makes him pay for it.
So the first run of the night for the Indians, as Carlos Santana is 0 for 2 so far tonight against Eduardo Rodriguez. for Brantley, his 9th home run of the year. Now a ground ball into right field for a base hit. So back-to-back hits here now for the Indians in the 7th inning.
Yeah, the pitch count's still in very good shape for Rodriguez. 81 total, but back-to-back hits, well, including the home run, obviously, and now a base hit to the opposite field by Santana. Fastball that time out over the middle of the plate and to the left of Brock Holt for the base hit.
Well, Eduardo Rodriguez had only given up 2 hits coming into this inning. He's given up back-to-back hits here now in the 7th. Ryan Rayburn 0 for 2, struck out, grounded out to second base. Pitching line for Eduardo Rodriguez. 6+, 4 hits, 1 run, the home run. The lead off this inning by Brantley. No walks, 5 Ks, 82 pitches deep. Strike call, 2-1. 5 strikeouts coming in the first 3 innings for Eduardo Rodriguez tonight. He's not had a strikeout since the 3rd. Evans at 2-2. Roberto Perez on deck. Cleveland batting here in the 7th. Still nobody out. H.B. Hood salutes the Red Sox Foundation for its commitment to 4,900 accredited charities throughout New England. Rayburn fouling it straight back, a 94-mile-an-hour fastball that was right down the middle. On the ground towards shortstop. Bogarts will go to second for 1, on to first for 2. 6-4 to 3 on the double play, 2 down.
That's pretty good right there. A 3-2 changeup. And the result, the ground ball to Bogarts. Nice underhand feed to Holt. Good feed to work with and plenty of time to turn over the double play. Those are the one the infielders like where they're moving toward the bag. That pivot man loves that because you know you're going to get a good flip and something nice to handle.
2 down here in the 7th inning for Roberto Perez, who was 0 for 2. He's grounded out twice to third. We'll check the Arbella Insurance tote board on our Jimmy Fund Radio Telethon tonight. Just up over $1 million. Well, we've heard from so many of the patients and doctors throughout the day, and Jerry, I know you have battled this yourself. There's a ground ball to a shortstop. Bogarts will go to first. That'll end the inning. We'll pick up on that when we come back. 7-1. Red Sox have the lead. 7-1. The Red Sox have the lead over the Cleveland Indians as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. And Terry, I know you have been through this yourself, so you can understand a great bit of what some of the people have told us here today.
A lot of the stories sound very familiar to your feelings. You know, when you find out that you have cancer, you're actually stunned, and it's a very scary word to hear. And you really, you know, until you get around your doctors and get the work done and to get an explanation on how this is going to be handled, you know, what stage you're at, what you got to deal with, what you don't have to deal with, I think is when you become a little bit more comfortable. And it's amazing how, you know, comfortable they can make you feel throughout the process. Look, I'm not going to lie, man. You know, I've had it twice, and it's very scary in both occasions. And it's something I don't wish on anybody. But, you know, you make it through. I mean, it's a battle. There's no question about that. But the people that are surrounding you and are helping you are doing incredible things. You know, we talk about raising this money, and there are so many treatments that are available today that were not available just 10 years ago. You know, targeting these cancers and being able to do this target medication, you know, radiation and stuff like that, to able to get spots that you normally would not be able to get at. So it's you know, for me, for many years, listening to all these stories, you listen to the stories and you really, you know, you can't relate until you've had it, and you know exactly what they're talking about, you know, when they mention these things. And you know, so far I've been lucky. I've had a surgery and I've had radiation, and fortunately in both cases it was caught very early, and to me that's the key, early detection, you know, for cancer, and then it's much more manageable to handle. But some of the stories you hear, I mean, are just incredible. The young man we had up here earlier, what he has had to go through, you know, is remarkable. And then it never ends, really. I mean, it's, you know, it's checkups, you know, every 3 months, going back for CAT scans to make sure everything's good. And, sometimes whole body scans, you know, PET scans to make sure that there's no cancer has spread to the rest of your body. So it's it's really a battle the rest of your life, I think, after you've had it. So, but you know, they talk about positive attitude, and the positive attitude comes, I think, with good results. You know, I think you're really scared. I mean, I was petrified, you know, when I found out. And I think most people are, but I think that when you get surrounded by the professionals and they tell you what they can do and how they can help you, I think that comforts you a little bit.
What amazes me, and I know, you know, we've talked to a great many kids over the years as well, that the younger people, I mean, you haven't gone through this later in life. I mean, you look at these kids going through it, and the amount of strength that they have amazes me every time we've been there.
Yeah, it does. You know, you see the kids in there, and you feel so bad for them, and yet sometimes they're the strongest of everybody. They really are. You know, it's amazing because they do have this playful attitude about them, even though they're very, very sick. And we've seen firsthand how they're treated, you know, by the people there. And it's, you know, it's very comforting to see. So it's kind of like these 2 nights are weird for me, because I've been through it a couple of times, and now I have a much, much better understanding of what these people go through, and, you know, why it's so important to raise the money, because I have had the benefit of the money that has gone into cancer research and development and all that has helped me. So, you know, it's important, man. If you can, you know, send a dollar.
Well, we will step aside with a pitching change from Fenway. stepped up to the plate with a new Red Sox caramel sundae cone. Bring it on home today. Always good, always Hood. Now Jeff Manship into the game here for the Indians. Their 5th pitcher of the night, 17th appearance, 1.35 earned run average, 16 strikeouts, 4 walks. Opponent sitting at 141 against Manship. There's Nate Castillo, grounds one towards shortstop. Lindor will flip to second, and they get the runner at second base on a glove-to-glove flip. As Travis Shaw retired.
That's a little dangerous right there, the glove-to-glove, but really the only way Lindor could get it there in time to get the force out at second base. I thought he was going to go to first base, but decides to make the flip, and that becomes a little bit easier with the shortstop glove. The second baseman glove, they're not quite as big as other gloves, and it gives you a little better control to flip that ball out of the glove.
So first to third now, 1 out. Blake Swihart, the batter. He's walked, single to right, reached on a fielder's choice, has an RBI from the number 9 spot in the order. This is back up the middle and into center field, a base hit. From third comes Sandoval, and the Red Sox get their 8th run of the night on top, 8-1. This time Swihart drives it in.
Well, I'm glad he's been on base 3 times tonight. We talked about him in the open tonight, about the offensive series he had against the Seattle Mariners, and again tonight, 2 base hits, 2 RBIs, a walk. So Swihart continues to swing the bat very well. Here's the effort by Lindor at shortstop, but it's going to get by him, and he's going to get a face full of dirt.
1 out in the inning with runners at first and second, and Mookie Betts 1 for 4 in the ball game. He drove in 3 runs with the bases clearing double in the second inning. That run charged to Austin Adams. That's thought about it, but he takes the ball. 2-0. Red Sox with a run in the first, 4 in the second, a run in the third, a run in the 5th, and now a run so far here in the bottom of the 7th. To left field. Rayburn with a long run will get there to make the catch, running onto the dirt of the track out there in deep left for the 2nd out of the inning. Good running catch out there by Rayburn. So 2 on and 2 down now.
Yeah, that ball just stayed up in the air, and it gave Rayburn a chance to track it down. I thought when it left the bat it was going to be more of a line drive. Ended up having a little loop to it. That gave Rayburn a chance to run it down.
Now Brock Holt, 2 for 4 in the ball game, a triple and a single. Manship promoted from AAA Columbus to Cleveland on June 18th. Spent the entire year prior to June 18th in Columbus. Since coming up, 13 of 16 outings have been scoreless. Popped up foul off to the left hand, out of play. Fly ball shallow left. Rayburn coming in full bore. He'll pick it on a hop. Fires homeward. It'll be late. And it gets away briefly from Perez. As scoring from second base is Rusney. Castillo and the Red Sox lead it 9-1. Brock Holt with his third hit of the night.
3 for 5 for Holt tonight. 2 RBIs. A little bloop in front of Rayburn out there in left field. He gets the breaking ball down and away and just serves it out into left field for the base hit. Little hesitation. You can see Rayburn out there freeze on contact, and that may have cost him the ability to make that catch. All you're hoping when you're running down the line is hope that ball drops in. And it certainly did that time for Brock Holt.
Xander Bogaerts, 7th member of the Red Sox to bat in the inning. And he'll take strike 1. Reached on a fielder's choice, struck out twice, and doubled. Oh, and 2. Tonight's starter for the Indians lasting an inning and 2/3, giving up 5 runs. So you've seen Crockett, Webb, Adams, and now Manship out of that pen. Fly ball to short right field, but in comes Jerry Sands to make the catch. It ends the inning. Red Sox add 2 more and take a 9-1 lead. Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Lexus in their pursuit of perfection. Sullivan Tire and Auto Service. Thank you, New England, for 60 great years. Infinity. Visit your local Boston area Infinity retailer for test drive today. And by your local Subaru dealers. Well, back at Fenway Park, 9-1. Red Sox have the lead over the Cleveland Indians. And a few more on in the bottom of the 7th. Red Sox out hitting the Tribe 16-4 in the ball game. Abraham Almonte leading it off here in the 8th. And Eduardo Rodriguez pitching here into the 8th inning. Now 92 pitches deep into his outing. Popped up right side as Holt out on the outfield grass makes the catch. Actually, that is Rutledge who has taken over at second base apparently for Brock Holt. So the first out here of the 8th. So Holt coming out of the game. Line to center field and in for a base hit. A 1-out single for Jerry Sands. So his first hit of the night had been 0 for 2. One out, one on as Mike Aviles batting for the third time. Is grounded back to the mound, flied out to center. One out, one on, and Aviles is going to send one to center field. That's going to fall in for a base hit. So back-to-back hits here. The 8-9 man in the Indians order.
Well, the Red Sox will probably get somebody up in the bullpen. Right about 100 pitches right now for Rodriguez, and back-to-back base hits here in the 8th inning. So off to the phone they go, and the long-distance call to the bullpen.
And Carl Willis heading to the mound, and as he does, Jerry, have some major breaking news here tonight for the Red Sox. As the Boston Red Sox announced today, the organization has hired Dave Dombrowski to be its president of baseball operations. Mr. Dombrowski will assume responsibility for all baseball operation matters effective immediately and report directly to the Red Sox principal owner John Henry and to Red Sox chairman Tom Werner. General manager Ben Cherington declined the opportunity to continue as general manager, but has agreed to assist Mr. Dombrowski during the transition.
Wow, that is big news.
So big news tonight here in Boston, as we sort of wondered where Dave Dombrowski would end up after leaving the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, there are a lot of different rumors flying around. Obviously, a much sought after guy in baseball, a guy that's been in the game a long time and very successful. And the Red Sox making a very bold move right here. Ben Cherington, as you said, hanging on to the rest of the season to ease in the transition.
Yes, he declined the opportunity to continue as general manager, but has agreed to assist Dave Dombrowski during the transition for the remainder of the season. Principal owner John Henry applauded Mr. Dombrowski's decision to join the Red Sox. He's known Dave for a very long time. And he says, as he was quoted, Tom and I have no doubts that Dave is the right person to strengthen our baseball operations group going forward. So the most highly regarded executives in all of baseball and had options to go to other clubs. Feel very fortunate that he wanted to come to Boston and wanted to further his career now with the Red Sox as one of the great architects of winning baseball clubs. And of course, we have watched Dave Dombrowski for a number of years from afar, both in Florida with the Marlins and with the Detroit Tigers, a team that the architect, of course, of the Red Sox beat in the American League Championship Series on their way to the 2013 World Series. Also one of the great men you'll ever meet in the game. An absolute class act.
Absolutely. And certainly good to have him aboard in the Red Sox organization. Now, he and John Henry were together down in Florida, right?
Correct.
And, of course, most recently, as Don mentioned, the Detroit Tigers.
This one on the ground, foul.
Well, he gets in here with an opportunity to
ease into the job with Ben staying around and getting a chance to evaluate, at least for the next 6 weeks, what the situation is here with the Red Sox moving forward into the offseason.
1-2 pitch out to center field, and Betts will track that for the second out of the inning. Jose Ramirez is retired. You had the feeling Dave Dombrowski would not be a free agent for very long.
No, there's no question about that. I mean, I remember the day that he left the Tigers, and there was already speculation of about 5 teams that were interested in his knowledge, and fortunately for the Red Sox, they're able to land him.
Swing and a miss, and it's 1-1. This one grounded foul in for Ben Cherington, Jerry, a guy that was the architect for the 2013 improbable World Series win. I mean, the Red Sox coming off a last place finish to go all the way to win it. Unfortunately, the last 2 years have been in last place as they currently sit here at 52 and 66, and in the end will not be staying as the Red Sox GM.
Well, I think anybody that's in that position obviously knows that something is going to happen, and I really think, this is only my opinion, that I think more of a veteran leadership role in that position of president of baseball operations was needed. I think it's going to be a terrific thing for the organization when you have that kind of knowledge at the top and the trickle down effect that it has throughout the organization. That's just my feeling. And when you got a guy with a proven track record like that, I mean, that's a great signing. It really is. And let's face it, we know after 2 years of what we've been watching and what the whole organization has had to watch for the last couple of years, that it needs work, and it needs a lot of work, and it needs an experienced finger on the trigger.
And again, if you were just joining us, Dave Dombrowski will be joining the club. He will join the club immediately as president of baseball operations. 2-2 pitch is fouled off. And again, he will assume responsibility for all baseball operation matters effective immediately. Ben Cherington again declining the opportunity to continue as GM, but will assist Dombrowski during the transition. So major news out of Fenway Park tonight. There's a ground ball towards third base. Sandoval on the run. And his throw to first base, well, it's going to be a foul ball. The indication is down at the plate is Lindor. Two-two pitch is outside for ball 3. Sands at second, Aviles at first with 2 down in the inning. Pitch count up there now for Rodriguez. There's a ground ball towards shortstop. Racing in is Holt, who throws on the run and in time to get Lindor at first base. That will end the inning. It is 9-1 Boston. After the game, TC and Eck will have continuing coverage of the Jimmy Fund Radio Telethon. Whatever, whenever, wherever. Who but WB Mason? Now it's on here to the last half of the 8th inning. David Ortiz to lead it off. Red Sox on top, 9-1. David with 2 hits tonight, both doubles. One to right in the first, one to center in the 5th. He's also walked tonight. Indians into the shift on the right side. Fooled badly there, and it's 0-2.
Good breaking ball by Manship that time, and had Ortiz a little bit off balance, which hasn't happened very much to him recently. Breaking ball that's going to be down a little bit out of the strike zone, and we haven't seen David take too many off balance swings.
On the ground by the mound with a shift on. It's Aviles, the third baseman. Throws out Ortiz for the first out of the inning. Let's take a closer look at what's ahead for the Red Sox. Tomorrow, starting pitchers. Corey Kluber matched up against Joe Kelly. Kluber this year 8-12 with a 3.34 ERA. Coming off a complete game against the Minnesota. The victory last time out on Friday. While Joe Kelly 5-6 on the year. Win against Seattle this past Friday. One down in the 8th. And it brings up Hanley Ramirez. 0 for 4 in the game. Rounding out 4 times tonight. Action for the Red Sox in the pen. Gene Machi up in the pen. every home run the Red Sox hit the rest of the season, Alltown will donate $500 to Boston Children's Hospital. Alltown is New England's premier healthier convenience retailer. Strike called. Ramirez didn't think so as he looks back at Mike Muchlinski. Thought it was low. On the ground towards third base, Avila is charging in. And a good arm there to get Ramirez quickly as there are 2 outs. Well, tonight after Red Sox coverage on NESN Sports Today, Adam Pellerin and Gary Streisky will have all the details on tomorrow's court hearing with Tom Brady and the NFL. That's tonight on NESN Sports Today, presented by People's United Bank. See what know-how can do. 2 outs in the 8th, and it brings up Pablo Sandoval. 2 hits in the game, 2 for 4. Those singles for Pablo. Red Sox banged out 16 hits in the contest. Travis Shaw waiting on deck. He's had a big night tonight, a 4-hit night tonight. Pablo thought about it. Follow the Red Sox all season with MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Get MLB.com at Bat for your smartphone or tablet today. Sandoval pops it up, sending the shortstop Lindor out to shallow left, calling and catching out number 3. We head for the 9th. It's 9-1 Boston. Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. We're back in Boston and Fenway Park. It's time for tonight's game summary. It's brought to you by Xfinity. For the Indians, Trevor Bauer bounced from this game after an inning and 2/3. 6 hits, 5 runs. Michael Brantley, the lone highlight right now for the Indians in the game. A home run, his 9th of the year. Eduardo Rodriguez goes the first 8 innings, giving up that only run, as Brock Holt 3 for 5 and Travis Shaw 4 for 4 in the ball game tonight. Well, Eduardo Rodriguez very good tonight as he goes the first 8 innings, and now Gene Machi takes over in the 9th. And Michael Brantley taking strike 1. Machi checking into his 8th game without a record of 4.05 earned run average. 7 strikeouts, 3 walks. Opponents hitting under 200 against Machi, 192. Ground ball and a couple of hops to Shaw. Able to pick it, and Machi covers the bag for out number 1 of the 9th inning. Well, tomorrow at 6:30, don't miss Red Sox Game Day Live presented by DCU. TC and Eck will preview Joe Kelly's start against the Indians. DCU, Digital Federal Credit Union. What can DCU save you? So 1 down here in the 9th inning, and it brings up Carlos Santana. Struck out in the 2nd, grounded out to 3rd in the 4th, and singled to right in the 7th. Jason Kipnis, who's activated before the ball game, looks like he's going to pinch hit to right field. Rusney Castillo now coming in on it, puts it away for the 2nd out of the 9th. 2 down.
Let's take a look at the Toyota play of the game, and Mookie Betts looked like he had struck out, but they called it a foul tip. He comes back and hits the ball off the wall, and driving 2 runs. All that coming back in the 2nd inning. Actually drove in 3 runs on that. I'm sorry. So kind of a break there for Mookie Betts. He takes advantage of it and drives in 3.
So 2 down here in the 9th inning. Indians activating Jason Kipnis from the DL. He put Chris Johnson on the DL before the game. Kipnis have it on the DL with a right shoulder inflammation problem. Currently leading the American League in batting average, hitting at .326. On base percentage at .401. Had a very good year in 101 games. Last played on Friday, August the 14th in Minnesota. Had Johnson, I should say, last time he played, but Chris Johnson now on the DL for the Indians, and Kipnis off the DL. That's here with 2 down in the 9th. Batting for Ryan Rayburn, who had been 0 for 3. On the ground to shortstop. Brock Holt plays the hop. Throw is good, and the ball game is over. So the Red Sox, who dropped the first game of the series, come back tonight in a big way. Offensively outstanding, pitching outstanding. Eduardo Rodriguez, the winner in this game, as he picks up his 7th win of the year, going 8 innings. And a very good night for the Red Sox all the way around. And Tom, big news tonight with Dave Dombrowski coming to Boston.